I touched my friend in my sleep. Now my wife is furious. I never imagined a moment could shake the foundation of my life like this one did. It started out as a normal weekend. A camping trip with close friends, something we'd done countless times before. My wife wasn't into the whole roughing it experience, so she stayed back. She trusted me. She always had. There was never a reason not to. The group was familiar. 2 guy friends, Taylor, a woman who's been just a friend for years, and myself. We'd shared tents plenty of times before. Nothing had ever happened. Not once. I didn't go out there expecting anything unusual. We drank around the campfire, laughing, talking nonsense like we always did. It wasn't excessive drinking, at least not for me. I was buzzed. Maybe, but definitely lucid when I crawled into my sleeping bag. I lay between the others, the soft hum of night settling over us, and fell asleep like I always do. Then, I woke up. Not in the usual groggy way. It was like snapping back into consciousness. The first thing I noticed was that my sleeping bag had been unzipped. I was lying on my side, and Taylor was close, far too close. Her hand was on my crotch. My own hand was on her. And she was kissing my neck. I recoiled like I'd touched fire. I didn't say anything. I just bolted out of the tent and sat by the fire alone, cold but burning with confusion and guilt. My mind was a storm of questions and panic. How did this happen? Why did it happen? What the hell was wrong with me? Eventually, Taylor came out. She looked shaken too, but not the way I was. She tried to explain, said I had started it. That I'd been touching her, rubbing against her. She thought it was intentional. Thought I wanted it. And she responded. Reciprocated. I asked her why. Why would she think I'd ever do that? She just said she assumed, in the moment, that it was mutual. But it wasn't. I wasn't even there. I didn't go back into the tent that night. I couldn't. I just sat by the fire, watching it burn down into quiet embers, trying to make sense of a situation that didn't make any. The next day, I went home and told my wife everything. I didn't hide a single detail. And she broke. The anger hit first. Rage. She screamed at me. Accused me of cheating, of betrayal. Then she left. Said she was staying with her sister. She needed space. I tried to call her. Tried to explain, to tell her that I hadn't meant for any of it to happen, that I wasn't aware when it did. But she didn't pick up. Not once. Days passed. Silence. During that silence, I went through a kind of mental freefall. The guilt was suffocating. Because even if I hadn't been conscious, it was still me. Still my body. Still something that could deeply hurt someone else. I'd always known I had strange sleep behaviors. Sometimes, I'd wake up during sex with my wife, already in the act without memory of how we started. She had always found it odd but never scary or invasive. She told me it was like I turned into a different version of myself. Tender, sensual, yet unreachable. We treated it like a quirky sleep habit. Something to laugh about in the morning. We never realized it was something real. Something diagnosable. Something dangerous. After the camping trip, I saw a doctor. He mentioned something called sexomnia. A parasomnia, like sleepwalking, but involving sexual behavior during sleep. He wasn't an expert, but he said it fit the pattern and referred me to a specialist. I started reading everything I could find about it. Blogs, forums, medical papers. I finally had a word for what had been happening to me. And I finally understood that it wasn't just quirky, it was a disorder. And it could cause real harm. My wife eventually came home. She'd taken time to think, to read, to reflect. She admitted her initial response had been fueled by fear and pain. She didn't want to say something in the heat of betrayal that she might regret. She told me she realized I wasn't choosing to do these things in my sleep. That I'd told her the truth immediately. That I recoiled the moment I woke up. That I was just as horrified as she was. We talked, really talked, for the first time in days. About how we'd both underestimated the seriousness of my sleep behavior. How we'd chalked it up to dreams, passion, some unconscious intimacy. But never a condition. Never a risk. She forgave me. Not instantly. But she did. It changed everything about how we looked at our past, and how we'd protect our future. No more brushing it off. No more risky sleeping arrangements. If I was going to be around people, I'd be in a separate sleeping space. No exceptions. I also reached out to Taylor. It wasn't an easy conversation. I apologized for everything, explained the diagnosis, the total lack of awareness on my part. She told me my wife had joked about my sleep habits before, and she'd always kind of assumed I just had vivid dreams. She admitted she should have stopped things when she realized something was off. She acknowledged that her response that night, responding physically instead of backing away, was a mistake. She said she didn't think she had feelings for me, but she got caught up in the moment. I told her we couldn't be friends anymore. Not after that. There was too much risk, too much damage. And she agreed. The conversation was respectful. Sad, but mutual. Later, my wife read the exchange. She said it confirmed everything I'd told her. That I hadn't lied. That I hadn't tried to cover anything up. That I was trying to make things right. Looking back, I understand that I should never have put myself in that situation. Not with this condition. Not when I didn't fully understand what I was capable of in my sleep. It wasn't about attraction. It never was. I didn't desire Taylor. Never had. But that didn't change what happened. What mattered was that I unknowingly created a situation where harm could occur. And it did. This isn't something I can undo. But it is something I can manage now. I'm in therapy. I'm learning. I'm moving forward. And most importantly, my wife and I are healing together. I've learned that ignorance isn't a shield, not when it comes to responsibility. Even if I didn't know I had a condition, the effects of it were still mine to own. And now that I do know, I have no excuse to let it ever happen again. Some friendships don't survive the fallout of truth. But marriages, real ones, can. And I'm holding on to that, one day at a time.